Great location. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So we're going to talk about what is certification. I saw that many of you that have registered have been clients of the Minority Business Assistance Center, and we've always presented this opportunity to you. So we are glad that you're taking this opportunity to learn more about it. It is certainly a benefit that has been made available through the state of Ohio. You can go to the next page. I want to talk a little bit more about exactly what certification is. The state of Ohio's Minority Business Enterprise Program, it was designed to assist minority-owned businesses in obtaining state government contracts through a set-aside procurement program for goods and services. So when we talk about state certification, there are several types that are available. The primary one and the first one, I believe, that was launched was the Minority Business Enterprise Certification, or MBE. And this is for businesses that are at least 51% or more owned and controlled by one of the following groups, either African American, Hispanic, Native American, or Asian American. Okay. Next slide. Okay. We also have a program entitled Encouraging Diversity, Growth, and Equity, EDGE. EDGE certified businesses are defined as enterprises that are owned by economically and socially disadvantaged entrepreneurs. EDGE establishes goals for the state agencies, boards, and commissions in awarding contracts to eligible businesses. An EDGE participant must be a business enterprise located in a qualified census tract, or the business may qualify if the owner meets the established program criteria for socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. And this primarily means that the primary owner of the business, at least 51% of the business, must have a net worth that is less than $750,000. Okay, so that's the EDGE program. That certification is also available. Next slide, please. Okay. Women Business Enterprise, WBE. This is the newest certification that the state has opened. It is designed to assist women-owned businesses in obtaining contracts for goods and services, construction, architecture, engineering, information technology, and professional services. The WBE program does not apply a procurement goal or a set-aside target for state government contracts. It just recognizes them, and there are certain benefits that are made available through the state for women business enterprises. So we'll talk a little bit more about some of the programs that are available. A WBE certified business, you can go back to that, okay, must be owned and controlled by a woman who is a US citizen and has an established residency in the state of Ohio or a reciprocal state. Generally, the states that surround the borders of Ohio are considered eligible for this certification as well. If you're a resident of Michigan, Pennsylvania, I believe Kentucky, as well as Indiana, you can also participate in getting certification through the state of Ohio. Next slide, please. Okay. The Veteran Friendly Business Enterprise, VBE certification, provides preference or bonus points to certified companies that compete to contract with the state to supply the goods or services it needs, including eligible construction services. So for VBE eligibility, the applicant business must satisfy one of the following criteria, okay? Either at least 10% of its employees are veterans or on active service. Next page. Or at least 51% of the applicant business is owned by veterans or persons on active service, or if the applicant business is a corporation, 51% of which is not owned by veterans or persons on active service, at least 51% of the board of directors are veterans or persons on active service. And then the final opportunity is for the business is certified by the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs as a service disabled veteran-owned small business or a veteran-owned small business. And the owners of the business meets the definition of a veteran as defined by the Ohio Administrative Code. Okay, so this is a certification that is available for those who are active veterans or in active service that they can get access to special bonus points for applying for it's applying for contract opportunities. Okay.
I'm listening to a seminar that I'm attending.
All right. So when we were talking about why be certified, obviously, as you've heard me talk about in the MBE, the EDGE, the WBE, as well as the VBE programs, the main objective is to encourage businesses to be able to contract with the state of Ohio. Each of its various departments have set aside for minority business enterprise that are contracts that must be awarded to those certified businesses. So having that certification gives you a leg up really on being able to apply for or compete on a level playing field rather than having to compete against everyone else that might be larger or even have more capacity. But this is an opportunity for you to take advantage of if you have product or service, or you want to do construction projects with the state of Ohio. Through the Ohio Buys website, you can access the various contract opportunities that the state has available. And just by putting in keywords that are tied to the services or products that you offer, you can find out what types of contracts may be available that you can bid on. So anyway, this is something that our office does assist you with in terms of identifying those procurement opportunities or how to access them, as well as, of course, being able to apply for certification. The Minority Business Assistance Center is able to support you in that endeavor. We also, one of the benefits of utilizing our services is that if you have a pending contract or a pending loan or bonding application with the state, you can get your application for certification expedited. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then also, as Cathy Armstrong, when she takes over, she's going to talk more about the documents specifically that are required for certification. And part of our function is to be able to help you submit those documents to the state of Ohio, to review them, to make sure that they are complete, and then also help expedite that process through the state of Ohio. Okay, so the other benefit, not only getting contract opportunities, but is getting access to several of the loan programs that are available through the state of Ohio that are targeted for minority and small and disadvantaged businesses. In particular, and many of you I'm sure have heard about this, if you've received our blog that comes out weekly, we have talked about the Ohio Micro Enterprise Loan Program, which is one of the newest programs that the state has launched. The program is designed to stimulate the growth of new and existing businesses by providing microloans at 0% interest, no interest, okay? They are intended to help businesses that have difficulty obtaining financing through traditional lending sources, okay? They are not credit-based, but they are on capacity based as far as your ability to repay the loan. But that certainly helps a lot of businesses that might have otherwise difficulty going through your regular banks or even credit unions. The loan amount minimum is $10,000 up to a maximum of $45,000. And the loans are to be repaid within 5 years for permanent working capital and 7 years for equipment. Okay, so eligible businesses, they must be certified by the Ohio Department of Development's Minority Business Development Division. All right, so as a minority business enterprise, MBE, just talked about that, or as a women business enterprise, WBE. Okay, some other things, the business must be current on their federal, state, and local taxes and current on private or publicly financed loans. And the business also cannot have defaulted on any previous financial assistance provided by the Department of Development. Okay, but this is something that the state has been very aggressive in trying to make those funds available to as many businesses that can demonstrate need as possible. So we definitely encourage you that if you are an MBE or WBE or seeking to be one, that you can take advantage of this microloan program. Ineligible businesses include, but are not limited to investment, real estate, lending, leasing businesses, multi-level marketing, adult entertainment, gambling, bars, furniture and appliance rental, and check cashing. So those businesses would not qualify for this program. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, again, the uses of the funds. The loan proceeds may be used for working capital, machinery and equipment purchases, leasehold improvements and inventory. And the loan proceeds may not be used for repaying delinquent state or federal taxes, financing residential property, owner-occupied or investment property, financing a change of ownership, or reimbursing funds that are owed to an owner, partner, or shareholder, or financing a non-business purpose. So pretty much if it is business related, as we just indicated, as far as working capital, machinery and equipment, improvements to your rental space, leasehold space, and inventory, you can utilize those funds. Next slide, please. Okay, and the Women's Business Enterprise Loan Program is, of course, now available to women-owned businesses. And again, it is to stimulate growth of those businesses by providing loans at market rate or below market rate interest, which is currently up to 3%. Okay, the minimum loan amount is $45,000 up to a maximum of $500,000. And then the loans are to be repaid within 10 years for equipment and machinery and 15 years for owner-occupied real estate. Okay, to be eligible, the business must be 51% owned and controlled by women or certified by the Minority Business Development Division as a WBE. And one of the benefits of being certified, because any woman-owned business that meets the criteria can apply for this loan at 3%. But if you are certified as a WBE, the interest rate is only 1.5%. Okay, so this is definitely an advantage for and an incentive to become certified. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, the loan proceeds may be used for machinery and equipment purchases, leasehold improvement, renovations, and real estate purchases. Okay, so it's a little different than the microloan. And also there is a larger loan that is available, the minority direct loan that is available for businesses at $45,000 to $500,000. But the loan proceeds may not be used for inventory, operating capital, rolling stock, repaying delinquent taxes, financing residential or investment property, financing a change of ownership, reimbursing funds that were owed to the owner, or financing a non-business purpose. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, and so for the application process, you should visit www.minority.ohio.gov. Okay, there is a form that you will be able to complete if you are interested in applying. And then you can also contact the staff at this email that's listed here, minoritybizfinance@development.ohio.gov. Okay. Applications will undergo an internal review process for approval. And then the Minority Development Financing Advisory Board will be notified about loan kick applications that have been approved. Approved applicants must have an Ohio ID registration, OHID, as well as an Ohio supplier ID so that the loan proceeds can be dispersed electronically. Again, we can assist you with preparing for this process. And then as you are prepared to submit your application, if you're also applying for certification, you can do it simultaneously, which is a great thing. So that can help expedite that process for you. So we are here to serve you. Next slide. Okay. And I believe that if Cathy is online here, she is ready to take over talking about the actual certification process. And this is probably a good time.
Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate everything.
Absolutely. I'm glad to see she's here. I was going to say if this would be a good place maybe to ask questions if people have just about what I talked about initially, because I know that they will have some down the road as well for Cathy.
Yes, go ahead and let them do that. I will give a few minutes and let them ask those questions.
Okay. But you might have to help me answer them. Okay. All right. I don't know if we had any questions in the chat.
There are no questions at this time, but as they come up, I will bring them to your attention.
Thank you very much. All right.
I have one question. I'm sorry. Am I able to ask the question?
Yes.
Certainly.
Before the WE certification, was there a certification mentioned before that? Because I had a glitch with the video.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We were talking about the MBE as well as, I believe, the VBE certification. But what we can also do for you is get that information to you directly. If you would just send me an email, we can follow up with you and make sure that you have all of the information. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I see a question in the chat from Ms. Tanisha Jackson, and the question is, can loans be used for marketing purposes?
Yes, they are actually for your operation. They are working capital. Yes. Help you operate your business. All right. Well, I'll turn it over to Cathy.
Good afternoon to good evening to everyone. Thank you for attending our What is Certification process. Thank you, Sharon, for going over the first part of it, and I will take it over from here. What is certification? What is the certification process? Next slide. Certification, we have procedures, and the procedures are just as real simple as when you apply through us, we automatically send you, the Columbus MBAC has prepared a detailed step-by-step procedure for applying for certification, which is available by email. And in this email, it includes the link to review the state of Ohio's qualifications, the link to the Ohio Business Gateway Unified Application, directions on how to navigate the Ohio Business Gateway Unified Application, which is very tricky. So we give you those guidelines of step-by-step. We give you a certification tip sheet. There's all kinds of different tips of how to become certified, what we're looking for. Then we also have a checklist of supporting documents that must be included in your application. And we're going to go over all of this. And then the certification affidavit form, the LLC certification and ledger form, and instructions for uploading your documents to the MBAC certification specialist, which is myself. But I also have Sharon that when I get backed up, Sharon also jumps in to help me out as well. So this is our procedures that we follow through daily in order for, when you want to become certified, we automatically send you this information here. Next. So we're going to talk about the standard certification process. The standard certification process is the documents that we're looking for to put into the documents. Proof of citizenship. What is proof of citizenship? We're going to talk about that. Proof of residency, proof of a membership in a disadvantaged group, and affidavit verifying certification eligibility. Next. Then we're going to talk about the fast track or expedited certification process. There is a fast track, and during that fast track, it reduces the application for approximately 5 days. And in order to qualify for that fast track, the applicant must submit the application through one of the regional MBAC offices, which is, we've got 7, total of 9, even including satellite offices, and which are operated by the Ohio Department of Development. And all the applicants must have either a pending contract award that requires certification, or a candidate for and in need of financing or bonding where certification is required. So again, in order to get fast tracked, it can be expedited within 5 days. But remember that you must have a pending contract, and we must have a copy of that contract. Or if you're going for financing or bonding, and you got to let us know which one you're going for, and then that can be expedited. And the only way it can be expedited, as we said, it must come through one of the MBAC offices. And we're the only ones who have access to that letter in order for it to be fast tracked for 5 days. Next. This is the affidavit verification certification eligibility. What this here shows is that when we're asking for proof of citizenship and you don't have, after 1970, there is no proof of race on your birth certificate. So this here kind of gives you what race you are. Are you a female, Black, Hispanic, Native? You've got to follow these criteria as Sharon went over, and then must have this signed and notarized. And this will become a affidavit verification but you still have to submit your birth certificate or a passport to go along with this. So this is included because, again, after 1970, you do not have proof of race on your birth certificate. Next. Supporting documents by business structure. So we identify as sole proprietor, partnership, and these are the two we're going to talk on this one here. Unincorporated entity that owned by one individual. And there's a minimum of 24 types of documents that come along with that when you're submitting it to the MBAC office. Then under partnership, you still have those same 24 documents, but you also have under partnership, it's a partnership agreement between you and whoever the partner is, the statement of partnership authority. You should have your Schedule K-1s, Schedule E or your Form 1065 or your 1120s or your 1120S. So these are all additional documents that comes with partnership. But again, we also look for the other 24 documents that comes with the sole proprietor that is included in this as well. Next. Then we have the corporation. The corporation is established by shareholders who invest money or property for the corporation capital stock. Business that have a corporation destination attached to a business limits the personal liabilities of its members. There are two types of corporation. There's a C Corp and there's an S Corp. Corporation and it's C Corporation is the actual corporation, and then you have the S Corporation, which is a sole owner, but is still considered a corporation. Then with those, you're going to still have the same 24 documents that you get from the sole proprietor as a sole proprietor. Then with the as a corporation, when you're filing with the Secretary of State, you should have your articles of incorporation. You should have your corporate or bylaws, shareholders, board of directors, your minute meetings, stock certificates, stock journal, Schedule K1, Schedule E's, or Form 1065. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So with the articles of incorporation, when you're filing as a corporation, these are documents in order to be filed as a corporation that you must file to be incorporation. Then you got the bylaws. Then you have the shareholders and the board of directors. So a lot of times there is shareholders and then there is board of directors meeting minutes. A lot of time as an S Corp, you say, I don't have board of directors meetings. But if you consider yourself as a corporation, you still have board of directors meeting minutes. Even if it's with yourself, you're tracking down, keeping track of what your next step is going to be. So that's when we're saying, yeah, you can still have that meeting with yourself. You still have shareholders. You can still be a shareholder because you're a sole owner, or you have other partners as shares. Then you have that stock certificate. That stock certificate shows how many shareholders that you have. So you have many shareholders, or you may just be a sole share owner. Then we have that journal. So these are documents that must be submitted. And if you're filing as a corporation, then you have that K1, filing with the taxes, federal taxes, the business taxes. Then your Schedule E or your Form 1065, 1120, or your 1120S. Next, please. The limited liability is a single member LLC. This is the most important one. We get many of these, but we also get the sole proprietor, partnership, corporation, but we really see a lot of the LLCs and single member LLCs. A limited liability company operates similar to the S Corp and C corporations in regards to liabilities. Having the LLC designation limits the amount of personal liability and debts of its members in regards to the actions of the LLC. So with that one, you will still have the same 24 documents, the articles of incorporation that you filed with the Secretary of State, the unit certificates, and a unit certificate is not the shares. As each member, you are considered a unit member. So on the unit certificate, you can have two. So you can have one unit certificate for you, one for whoever the other person would, and still not considered a partnership. Then you also have that journal or that ledger that you must submit to us as well. And with those, you file a K1, or you file an E form and or 1065, 1120, or 1120S as your business taxes.
Cathy, before I move to the next slide, there are three questions that I'd like to have answered. It sounds like I have an echo here. We'll start with the first one. What is the most efficient way for startups to obtain the loans that were mentioned earlier when Sharon was presenting?
Okay. Sharon, can you jump on for that one, please?
Yes, it is talking about for startups. One of the things, as far as the loans are concerned, if you are going after the Ohio microloan, you would have to be certified. So that means you would have to be in business at least 1 year. I think that's the requirement for certification as an MBE or a WBE. Thereafter, it is just a matter of going through the application process for the certification. And I think Cathy can speak to in terms of what types of activities that the businesses need to demonstrate as far as being certified, the fact that they've been in business 1 year, or if there is alternatives, I'll let her speak to that. But once you hit that 1 year mark, you are eligible to apply for a certification. Cathy, you can speak to that further.
Okay, so what that means, you've got to show that you've been in business for 1 full year. So the documents that we ask for, you can show contracts, invoices, purchase orders, showing something that shows that you've been in business for at least a year. We look at canceled checks. We look at a year of canceled checks, saying that you've been in business for at least a year. Not saying, say for instance, that you've been in business, but you wasn't under the business name, but you did have the business, and you outside of the, saying, well, I've had the business for a year, but I didn't go for my LLC certificate to be with the Secretary of State until 6 months ago. But if you could show us that you've been doing that business for at least a year, then we can add that in saying, hey, yes, they've been in business for a year. So we can make that business, like we said, you just have to show that the business has been active, running, making a profit. That's what we look at. We're not looking at how much profit, because we're not interested in how much profit. We just want to know it's a business up and running. Thank you, Ms. Sharon. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yes, actually, and I think that the question also was with regard to how to fast track the loan process. The fact that you are applying for certification and loan at the same time automatically allows that process to be expedited. So not only is the certification process expedited, but also the MBDD is working to make sure that they can turn around those loans quickly as well. So the sooner you apply, the quicker that they can respond to you.
Sharon, does it have to be a government?
Exactly. And again,
Oh, no, sorry. I was just asking, that question also was about whether or not it needed to be a government contract to be fast tracked.
Cathy, can you speak to that? Because my understanding was that it had to be a state, but I don't know if there's been a recent change in the regs on that.
For my understanding as well as state, I haven't heard anything about federal or anything other outside than that. It's just with the state. So if it does changes, we can clarify and do an update on that. But right now we know it's strictly state
State contracts.
That's helpful.
State contracts. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Now, another question is, if a business ever changes its structure after becoming certified, would the business have to reapply for certification?
Absolutely. Once they change the structure, they have to report that structure change, and they have to show, especially if it's a major, you go from 51 to 49, and then it turns back and it goes 50-50, unless it's two minorities or whatever. We need to make sure that change. And a lot of times when they do make that change, they have to wait a year for that before it could be reactivated again. Because again, any structural changes is a year. Even after they become certified, is a year.
Thank you.
So,
and that did happen to one of my member businesses. So that was the perfect answer. It sounded like I interrupted someone.
Yes, actually, I just wanted to state that the certification lasts for 2 years, and you can recertify thereafter just by updating certain documents. Am I correct, Cathy?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it's only certain documents for recertification. You don't have to do the whole process. After 2 years, you get a 90-day, a 60-day, and a 30-day notice for recertification in order to be recertified. And that doesn't come through us, that comes through the state of Ohio.
That is correct.
We have another series of questions, and I believe this relates to the loans. Do the funds run out, or is there a limit on recipients?
Okay. Do the funds run out? Of course, there is not an endless supply of money, but the state of Ohio has committed to, based upon the need, that they would revisit issuing more money that could be loaned. As far as, is there a limit on recipients? I don't believe, I mean, if you're talking about someone receiving more than one loan or the number of recipients, I don't think that's an issue. It's just as the money is available, they want to get it out the door.
Do they evaluate your personal?
That's actually a question more for MBDD. I think that their underwriting process is based upon obviously the business income. They may take into account personal income for the purpose of making sure that you have the capacity of repaying the loan. These are loans, they are low interest loans, but they do want to make sure that you have the capacity of being able to make those payments as they are due.
That makes sense. And the last question in the chat, is there data that illustrates the percentage of applications versus approvals?
We don't have any data as of yet, but that is something that certainly could be presented to the state for some information. So do you send us an email and we can put that question out to those who can answer it?
Awesome. So Cathy, I believe you can resume.
Thank you. And additional information needed is that they have which is called the NAICS codes, which is Nat Codes. And you can find these codes under here, and these codes here show what the industry of the business is. And usually when you're filing for this, even business taxes, whoever does your taxes, these are codes that we're looking for, and it's one code per business, and depending on the structure of the business, that's what the Nat codes are. And then you have your SIC codes, and your SIC codes is the same thing. And so you kind of want to look at those, and it's many, many, many numbers, but look under the type of work that you do, and then go under and find that one code that goes under Nat codes. You got one under SIC codes. Then you got one that goes under UNSPSC codes as well. So we have a lot of acronyms that we use, but these are the words that pulls out that these are the codes that you look for. And then if you have issues looking for them, we are there to assist you in helping you look for those codes as well. Sharon, as a business coach, really gets down detail with you. I know how to look those codes up and help you with them as well. So we're here to help you find anything and help you with anything you need on these codes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Then there's a capability statement and your business resume. Capability statement, Sharon also teaches on capability statement. So she handles that and help you build your capability statement, how to put one together. And then we also look for your business resume. We're not looking for we're not looking for all the jobs you had. We're looking for just business resume that builds your business up, letting us know about your business and looking at that resume. So when anybody wants to pull it and say, oh, they do this, they do that, your business resume speaks to you just like the capability statement speaks of your business. Is there another question?
There was, but I was able to
So
answer
the
it.
overview of each document. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I apologize. Seems like we have a delay. I was able to answer the question.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So the overview of each document for LLC, again, we look at the articles of organization. Again, those are filed with the Secretary of State. So if you don't remember where they're at or anything, just go to your Secretary of State and pull that up, and your Secretary of State registration. And if you have not filed for one, then this is where you go to the Secretary of State to file for your registration and your articles of organization. There is a fee for it. I know they changed the price on it, so I'm not sure what it is now. And then we also look for your Form 8832, which is business. Let me see, I got that on the tip of my tongue, is your business election. So you want to do your Form 8832. You only do that one time, and that will always be on your taxes. Then we look for your IRS Ss4. What is a Ss4? That is your EIN number. We look for a copy of your EIN number, making sure that the name that you filed with the Secretary of State, that when we do provide with your Secretary of State and the actual business that you filed with the IRS, that we have it correctly, because sometimes with the IRS, because again, somebody else could have the same name, but maybe have a period, a comma, whatever. So we kind of look at that IRS Ss4. Then the forms that are not optional, but we do ask for them, and I did say that before, is your LLC membership certificate and the journal. So we're just looking for, so we give you a blank copy of the certificate if you don't have it, and we give you a blank journal or the ledger to fill that out. And again, one member is one certificate. Journal is usually one unit member, and then you fill that journal or that ledger out saying the one person. Now, as an LLC, you can have 2 members, you can have 3 members, but membership. But again, for each person is one unit. Next, please. This is what the unit certificate journal looks like. The date it was issued was, and what we say the date is issued is the day you filed with the Secretary of State, the name and address of whom it is. So if it's for me, I would say Cathy, Armstrong-Sapp, number a unit, just me, 1. I would name my certificate 1, units a member 1, total unit issue 1, and that's what I use. Now the unit on the other side is if you cancel any of them and cancel them out and then add someone else in, or you just totally cancel them and you just fill that side out on over there. Next, please. This is your certificate. We give you a copy of this blank one. You put the company's name at the top, the organization, total of members, and the date. Then it just fills this out according to what it says. And you hold what percentage of the business and the date it was issued and signed. So it's really quick and simple. And again, if you have a problem filling this out, we're here. I will assist you on how to fill that out. Overview of each documents for LLC. We look for personal tax returns for 3 years. If you haven't been in business but 1 year, so we just need the 1 year, and then we still need your personal taxes for the other 2 years. So, I mean, we still look for personal taxes for 3 years, regardless, but the business taxes, I'm sorry, we look for 3 years, but if you only been in business for 1 year, we still need the 1 year and still need your personal tax returns for the 3 years. We look for the bank signature card. A lot, when you start your bank account, you get a bank signature card who has signature authority on that business account. If you no longer have that card, you don't know where it's at, go to the bank. They will give you a letter on their letterhead letting us know the bank account number and who has authority on that account to sign for that bank business account. We look for the 3 largest contracts for the past 2 years with supporting documents. Those 3 large contracts, we're not looking for a certain amount. We're just looking to see who is your 3 largest contracts within the 2 years and the supporting documents. Looking at what was in the so when you get that contract, we're looking at all the meat in between it to let us know what were they telling you to do in that contract. Are you capable of doing what they asked you to do? What was your work? What was your portion of it? So we look for those contracts. Then we look for the distributorship agreements or line of credit with the supplier. So if you have any distributorships with anyone or line of credit with the supplier, we're looking for those items as well. So those kind of really speak on themselves. Line of credit with your suppliers of who you're buying from, distributorship of who your distributors are. Are there agreements with them or you don't have any? And then I will get into, if you don't have any, we'll talk about that too. Next, please. We look at loans and security agreements. Does the business have any loans and security agreements? You may not. If you do have loans, we're looking for a copy of that loan agreement. If you have any security agreements, a copy of that security agreement. We look for that lockbox lease. Lockbox is not your personal lockbox where you're putting mail in. We're looking for lockboxes. If you have a lockboxes between you and another business company that bundles money between the two of you, who has access to that lockbox. So it's not where we're looking for a personal lockbox or a business lockbox where you're putting mail in. We're looking where the money is going, funneling through the two. That's what a lockbox lease is. Listed certification by other agencies. Are you certified through the city, the county, ODOT, anybody else other than WBE? Say, for instance, you got your WBE, but you don't have your EDGE or your MBE, letting us know who you're certified with. So that way we keep track of those certifications so they'll know who else you have been certified through. Management agreements. Do you have any management agreements between you and anyone else? Anybody? We look for those management agreements between you and another management partner. Required license for trades or services. Some business required license. Who requires those licenses? If you're a doctor, you have to have that doctor license. A registered nurse, got to have that nursing license. If you're in accounting, that accounting, certified accountant. If you're a truck driver, you've got to have those CDLs. You've got, going through PUCO and different things like that. So anything that requires a license, we're asking for those licenses or the trades or services as well. So we look for all of that to be part of your documents. Next. We're looking for equipment list and title documents. Equipment list, we're looking for all the equipment that you use. So if you got a desk, if you got a computer, you got a printer, we're looking for those items too. And when it says title documents, if you have a vehicle or a truck that's in the company's name, we're looking for the title and seeing whose name that the actual vehicle is in, as that title. So we're looking for that. Facility lease ownership documents, you may use your private residence. So with the facility lease or ownership, if you own the location, we're looking for that document of ownership. And so we're looking for the deed if you own it. If you're leasing it, we're looking for the lease agreement. Same way with private residence. If you own your house and the business is in your home, we're looking for the deed of the home saying that the house is in your name and your business is being run out of your home. If you're leasing a facility for residents, we're looking for that lease agreement as well. List of subcontractors speaks for itself. If you're using any subcontractors, we're looking for a list of those. We're looking for a balance sheet, cash flow statement, income statement, or P&L, most recent quarterly reports. So a lot of times I hear people say, I don't have a balance sheet. We have a blank balance sheet that you can use to put a balance sheet together, a cash flow, income statement. These are very important because state agency, when you get a contract, they want to know, are you handling the money? So again, Sharon Francis teaches and can walk you through the steps of how to do a balance sheet, cash flow statement, income statement, or P&L, or most recent quarterly report. She works individually with individuals to show them how to put those together. And then required license for the services. We talked a little bit about that already for your trade. And then we look for one previous year bank statements. One thing I will say, if you have your bank statements, they look at those statements, put your business account, get an account for your business. Do not mix your personal and your business account together. So you need to separate the two, because when we're looking at those, if you're sending us a year of those bank statements, we got to go through all the personal stuff in order to find out what's the business. So I encourage you to go and get your business and get its own account. So when they're looking through that, they don't have to figure out what's on here, personal stuff. They want to strictly look at your business account. Next, please. Resume for each owner. So if you have more than one owner, we're looking for the resume of each owner. And we're just looking for the resume of just the type of work of the business owner. What is your resume? Does your resume speak to the type of work you've done in the past years? So they look at those and they evaluate and they read those. Service level agreements, list of subcontractors. In case where some documents are not applicable to your business, must include the following on a business letterhead. So what we're saying is, if some of these documents do not apply or not applicable to you, put them on a single sheet with the letterhead saying that this is not applicable to me. And then you must name the document and the reason why it's not applicable to your business. So for each document, as you're going down that checklist, it is not applicable, you put it on that document and you tell us why, because we need a statement of why it's not applicable to you. Maybe your business is not required to have service level agreements. You're not required to have subcontractors, depending on the type of business that you have. So we need that document. That's part of submitting the document, saying that we have, when you're looking at that checklist, we go down the checklist and check everything off and match it up on that checklist to see what we have. So when they don't have it, then they won't send you a letter and say, oh, you didn't submit this and you didn't submit that. The not applicable list will fall in place and let them handle that from there and say, okay, they have a statement in there, so I won't go back to them and ask them for this or that. So that's what this non-applicable list with the letterhead means. And if you don't have a letterhead, create a letterhead. You've got time to create your own letterhead. Always have a letterhead. So we encourage you to do that as well. Next. Ms. Sharon, did you want to pick in on this, or you want me to go ahead and go through it? Okay, the timeline. gathering your documents. Save when you're getting ready to submit. We are not currently not taking any documents, paper documents. Everything is sent through emails and is sent directly to us, and they're uploaded. So listen carefully as we go through this. Save and name each document. File according to the name on the checklist. So each document must have its own name, done in a PDF and uploaded. Email to MBAC in the order they appear on the checklist. We encourage you to follow that checklist. Encourage you to follow it directly the way it is and upload each document the way it is. Submit it to us in an email, the way it is on the document. Then upon receipt, we will review the file within 24 hours for completion. If completed, we will advise you to do the Ohio Business Gateway. So do not do the application until after we receive all documents. Sometimes we don't get all the documents, and I will go back and forth with you and say, hey, you didn't have this, I need this, I need this other document. So, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why in a minute. So do not do the application until we tell you to do the application. If not, we will be advised on the missing information. If not, we will advise you on the missing information. So again, we will tell you what's missing to get it all together before submitting it. And the last thing we want to do is the application. And when the Ohio Business Gateway is completed, MBAC will submit it to, we will submit it to DAS-ELD. And the reason why we do the application last is because once you submit that application, you have 30 days to get those documents to us if you do that first. So if you don't get the documents to us and 30 days pass, you got to do the application over. So we're doing a reverse. Let's do the documents first, then we come back and then we do the application so that it will be within its time frame of getting it submitted. So even if we submit and there's something missing, you still have time to get that to us. For expedited processing, we need the bid number and the RFP, date, time frame. We said 5 days, but the current days was 7 to 14 days. So if they get backed up, you still got that 7 to 14 days. But they said they can do it in 5, but we still have that holding time to 7 to 14 days. Standard process of once we submit it is 60 to 90 days as a regular application. So if you do not have a contract pending or a loan, seeking for a loan, then you're going to go strictly with the standard. Then DS review may request additional documents. So after I submit, they may request additional documents and you submit it directly to them. Those do not have to come through me, because now they're looking at it and saying, hey, I don't have enough information, so I'm going to ask for a little bit more. So when they do, they're talking to you directly, then you send those additional documents to them. Then you may receive notice of a virtual site visit, which they're doing virtual site visits right now. No one's going out visiting anyone right now. So they will do a Zoom or Teams meeting with you, and that could last up to 2 hours talking to them. And so they'll get to know you face to face on these Zooms on this virtual site visit. And then after that, you will receive confirmation of certification, whether you're approved or disapproved. And so far we've been approving, our rate is approval. So we're gonna keep that going. Next. Sharon, before we ask any questions, do you have anything to add?
Yes, actually, I just do have just 2 more things that I want to make. Okay, got some feedback here. But anyway, the MBE and the EDGE, as well as the WBE applications, you can apply for them all simultaneously. That's something I did not speak of, so that you can just, it's one application. the documents that would be required for each certification, you would need to submit them all. But that is one benefit. And certainly when you're going through working with Cathy, she can make sure that you have everything that you would need for each of the certifications. But it's just one, you can just have one submittal for all of them. Cathy, was there anything about that?
Ms. Sharon, that's changed. Yes, Sharon. I'm sorry. The unified application, yes, all three of them are on there, but the MB and Edge is one certification. Then the WBE is a different one, but it still goes through the unified as well. It still goes through the How Business Gateway. Okay. So you filed your MB and Edge, you can do that as a dual, and then the Edge is a different one, but you still can go through the How Business Gateway for that one as well. So you could do all three, but you'll still have two applications. Gotcha. Does that make sense?
Yes, got it. Thank you.
Got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then the latest update that we've received is that the state certification for MBE is now it's applicable for all political subdivisions in the state of Ohio. So if you've got your state MBE, you do not need to apply for MBE for the city of Columbus, for Franklin County, or any township. It will work for any of those localities. So that is a great improvement to the program that has just recently been implemented.
Awesome. So we do have a few questions.
That's great.
Sorry, this is gotta love the feedback issue, but we do have a few questions that are in the chat, and some of them go back to the loan questions. So we'll start with the first one from Ms. Sharita. When you get a microloan, how fast do you have to begin paying it back?
That information I don't know, but I can get it. And Sharita, if you send me an email, I will respond to you with that question.
Awesome. So the second question is, and I think we talked about this one already, but I want to reiterate it. If your business hasn't reached 1 year in service, that would mean you're unable to apply for certification. If you are a woman, can you still apply for the WBE loan at 3%?
I don't know if there is a requirement.
Both.
Go ahead, Cathy, if you can speak to that, because I'm not really sure if there is a requirement.
Yes, WB. Yes, WB. Yes, it's still 1 year.
Okay,
yes.
for certification.
All certifications is 1 year, except for certification. For only one that's not, you don't have to be in business for 1 year is VA. It's
right,
our VBE, our Veterans Business. Yeah, yes. Okay. That is the only one that you do not have to be in business for a year.
And we can check the guidelines as far as for just the women's business loan, if you're not certified, if you still need to be in business 1 year or not. We can check to see what those requirements are. Again,
oh, you do have to,
go ahead.
No, we keep freezing. For the loan, they still have to be in business 1 year in order to become certified, in order to get certified through us, and for them to go through to get that loan, it's still 1 year.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Now the next question is about the business resume. So should a new business use a personal resume if they've only been in existence for 6 months?
Let me respond to that too. The capability statement is really your business resume. I believe that the certification application requires your personal resume as well, proof of what your personal background is as it relates to the business. So yes, 6 months, yeah, you're still going to have to put in your personal resume. And if your business has a capability statement, you can include that as well. I don't know if they're interchangeable or not, but definitely a personal resume is going to be required regardless.
Makes a lot of sense. So I think we had a question about the journal and the ledger, but I believe you answered that already when we shared the example of what it looked like. And we'll make sure you all have a copy of the deck. There was another question about how can we, meaning the small business owners, help you, meaning MBAC, get us certified. They want to hear about, are there any pet peeves, any things that are, that get in the way that are common? They want to make sure they're able to overcome those.
Cathy, I defer to you on that, dear.
No, not really. The thing is, if we just have the documents that we need to submit, there's nothing that, nothing that can hold you back from being certified. But the thing is, all we are at the MBAC office is we gather the documents, we verify the documents are there in the email. And I did forget to tell you about that. You can, let me say it while it's on my mind. When you're submitting your documents, put as many of those documents, upload them on an email. You may have to send 2 or 3 emails. So, so you upload those documents to us, and 1 of 2, 2 of 2, or 1 of 3, 3 of 3, or however. So you get those documents to us, but there's nothing that stops you from being certified, because we're just the in between, gathering those documents, making sure that they're there. But we do not make the final decisions. Only DSA makes those final decisions. So when it comes to that, we don't even analyze the documents. We just make sure the documents are there. If it's a balance sheet, is the balance sheet there? Is the capability statement there? We do not go in and review the documents. We just look at them to make sure they're in there, and we're the ones who submit them. And that's how we handle that. The final say-so of what goes on is the State of Ohio Department of Service Agency. They're the ones who handle it. Are there any hiccups? No, there isn't none. Only thing is just getting those documents. And sometimes people don't have hands on them, or they're not really sure what they're looking for. So again, that's what we do, is we just make sure they don't have a better understanding. We guide them and telling them what they looking for. And sometimes they'll say, oh, I got that right here, but they had named it something else, or they didn't know what to call it. So that's the only kind of, those are the only kind of things that we have. Sharon, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay, so the next question,
Okay.
I'm gonna combine the next question, because people have different types of businesses, and what they're trying to figure out, is it even worth it for them to get certified? So what if they have a counseling center or a news media company? Is there a benefit for them to get certified?
What I have found, first of all, just to make people aware, that the state of Ohio is a huge organization. The departments that it supports, from the Secretary of State's office, from the Department of Development, the Youth Services, MRDD, you name it. The corrections services. All of these entities are bidding contracts, and they're required to bid them out. And they are all required to have a portion of them set aside for minority businesses. So if you have a service, counseling service, I think someone had asked about even news media, there are all these kinds of purchase services. The state does bid those contracts out. And the easiest way to find out if what your business offers, if it would be something that could be a contract available through the state of Ohio, you need to go to Ohio Buys. That is the procurement site for the state of Ohio. And if you search under that page under services, you can click contracting opportunities, procurement opportunities. You can even search by departments, who's buying what. And they are required to publish what they're going to be buying over the next year or 2 years. I think it's so you can find out, putting in your keywords for your business, whatever service or product that you offer, see what comes up. You can also check, for MBE contracts that have already been awarded. So you can kind of get a sense for what kind of awards have gone out, what kind of contracts have already been awarded. But it is definitely an opportunity. I mean, if you sell toilet paper, or if you have somebody said even counseling services, you'd be surprised what kinds of services, legal services, all kinds of services that are being bid out and that you have opportunity to bid upon. One of our clients bid on the video production for the Department of Tourism. And it was a huge contract for MBEs. It was a set aside that they won. Okay, so, and I just happened to be going through the list and just seeing contracts that had been awarded. And sure enough, there was one of our clients. We have clients that have won for providing phlebotomy services or drug testing services for various state agencies. There's all different kinds of things, and a lot of people aren't aware that those opportunities are there for you. So check out Ohio Buys and look under those procurement opportunities, contracting opportunities, and see what's out there.
Thank you. We have just
And can I piggyback a little bit on what she's?
Yeah, go right ahead.
May I say something, please? Okay, so as an MBE, there is a 15% set aside. So all state agencies are required, and some colleges, universities are required, they are by law have to set aside 15% of their spending dollars with MBEs, okay? So then with the EDGE, it's a 5% goal. So it's not a set aside, it's a 5% goal, but they have to be EDGE certified. And that goal is, and if they can't reach that goal, because goal is still an open market, but it's still a goal. And then if they can't meet it, then they go outside of that, and then they go back to open market. So there is a 15% set aside with the state agencies, some of the colleges and universities, that their total spending dollars must be spent with MBEs, 5% as under EDGE.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that's all they can use for EDGE. I'm sorry, for EDGE. But, for the state agencies, you've got some agencies that are using 25% MBEs. Some are using 10% EDGE. So they can go above, but they are required by law to meet that 15 and 5. But they can go outside of it to make, they can go and make it as a minimum to go higher than what they need. And so they are held accountable for that with those spending dollars with MBEs and EDGE. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, that was good advice, so thank you. So the last question I have is, it says there earlier in our conversation, we referenced something about having a state number. And I believe the computer may have frozen for that person. So can you repeat the information about having a state number?
Yes, I think that was talking about the Ohio ID, the OHID. And you can get that through, if you go to the Ohio Buys, you can apply for your supplier registration and have access to their portal directly. Yes.
Awesome. And I was wrong. There was one more question. It says, is there a lot of completion to obtain a bid? What is the likeliness of obtaining a bid with all of the small businesses in Ohio? Oh, and I think it was competition. So is there a lot of competition to obtain a bid?
That I don't know. From what I've seen, pretty much, some of your areas there might be a lot of competition. For example, if you're providing cleaning services or things like that, that may have a lot of people that are applying or bidding for those. But there are so many different opportunities that are available. If you are viable in your business and you are prepared, and that's something that the MBAC does try to help you become, so that you are ready to bid. We have even other resources that we have access to through the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, PTAC, which is another state agency to help make sure that you are ready and you can present a competent bid. So that assistance is there. And then that's, pretty much if you can do the job and you can demonstrate that and articulate that, you keep bidding, you'll get an opportunity. You will succeed.
Thank you.
And I want to follow up with that. I want to do a follow-up behind that. And a lot of times, they always say the lowest bidder. It's not always the lowest bidder, it's the most responsible bidder. So that's good information for them to know. The lowest bidder could be too low. They want the most responsible bidder as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I see a lot of businesses that think that bidding low is the right way to go, but then when it's time to actually deliver the service, they run into problems. So I think that's excellent advice.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Awesome. So we want to once again just thank you all for your time. And as Cathy and Sharon said, they look forward to assisting you. So feel free to reach out to them. We'll send their contact information along with this deck and a recording of this particular virtual event to you immediately afterwards. So once again, thank you so much and go about your merry way. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.